Before we continue, I wanted to share some exciting news with you. My new online, on-demand program, How to Advance Your Career with Your Current Employer, is officially live and ready for you. So if you're looking to speed up your career progress, check this program out via the link in the description. So welcome to this Learning and Development Expert Series brought to you by Lassie Albin and a selection of top L&D experts from different industries. Digital services and product platforms have taken over the world, and most of us use them every day. Whether buying on Amazon, booking a trip for our holidays, looking for a car, it's highly likely that you will engage with multiple platforms. Today, we have the wonderful opportunity to talk to Elizabeth Kalnin, a talent and development consultant at Adevinta. Adevinta operates digital classifieds in 16 countries, connecting buyers and sellers ranging from job offers to real estate, cars, to consumer goods, and more. Prior to joining Adevinta, Elizabeth spent 12 years with various L&D roles, including BWC, Moneris Solutions for Payments, and ESL Business School. Her work and life have taken her to live in Canada, Thailand, and Spain. And now we have the wonderful opportunity to learn from her experiences and what is going on in the area of digital platforms and development. A warm welcome, Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Lassie. I'm really happy to be here today.
Very good. So jumping straight to the questions. How important is it for your company to see that employees are constantly learning and motivated? And more importantly, what is the likely outcome if the learning stops?
Yeah, so I would say it's extremely important for companies to see that employees are constantly learning and growing and that they're motivated. In fact, in the company I work with, one of our we have 4 key behaviors. One of them is always be learning fast. So there's this real high value placed on agile learning, continuous improvement, and innovation. And I would say that this is relevant not just for my company, but for most companies, in fact. One of the key indicators of potential for career growth is learning agility. And this is a model that's been developed by Korn Ferry, which focuses on the importance of being agile in your learning approach. I would say that from an organizational perspective, when learning stops, improvement, innovation, all of that stagnates, and that impacts our products and services that we have for our customers. So we're no longer able to keep up with changing trends, behaviors in the market, which then has an impact on our position with our clients, users, and stakeholders. From an individual perspective, I would say that when we're not learning, we are loosening our ties with our own internal motivator, which is mastery. So if you've read Dan Pink's book, which is called Drive, there's 3 internal motivators: mastery, autonomy, and purpose. And mastery really is about that continuous learning, progressing, always being curious and wanting to grow. So yeah, definitely important from both an individual and organizational perspective.
Mastery always brings into my mind Swiss watchmakers and the master watchmakers.
Yeah.
It's perfecting the rules before you can break them.
Yeah, exactly.
So in your industry, digital industry, what do you see are the top 3 transferable competencies that you see highly valued and also that can be always further improved?
Yeah, so I would say, again, this is my perspective from what I've seen throughout the years in the different areas that I've worked in. Again, both professional services. Now I work in tech, but yeah, definitely the thing I've noticed across different types of stakeholders, different types of customers that I work with is, I'd say the first one is impactful communication. And what for me this is really about is it's about understanding how and what to communicate to your audience. And that audience can be whether it's your clients, your stakeholders. It's about knowing how to position what the message and the need that you have in a way that they will understand, that meets their needs, that answers their biggest problems. So for me, that is a really key skill set that one can really start to develop at any level of the organization, but it becomes increasingly important as you move throughout the organization. And in fact, I did a consultancy a while back for an organization where one of the biggest challenges that some of their top people were facing was this specific area around kind of impactful communication, knowing how to really speak with their clients in a way that would have a really big, would add value to them. So I've seen it also in organizations. The other thing really about this area of impactful communications is there's going to be different people styles, people dynamics, especially as we think about kind of global organizations. We're working, many of us are working very much cross-culturally with also cross-functional teams. So if you work with teams that have, data roles, product roles, tech roles, et cetera, you're going to have all sorts of people you work with. And in order to get things done, you need to be able to really influence and motivate in a way that people can understand. And so my question that relates to, again, why this is so important is, if you think about your own experiences that you've had in past jobs, where were those biggest hurdles that you faced? So reflect on that. Where did you experience the biggest challenges? And were they system challenges? Were they process challenges? Or were they people challenges? And for me, the answer to that really, I think, links back to why this area is so very important. I think the second one I would say is driving results with a user client focused approach. So for me, this is basically taking strategy and finding a way to execute on it, but from the lens of the client, the user, understanding what their needs are. So it's also about holding people accountable, holding yourself accountable to commitments. It's about delivering under tough circumstances. So if we think about this year in the pandemic, so many companies had to adapt, change their approach. And so it's about delivering in those kind of circumstances too. And the quote I think about when I think about this area of driving results is a quote from Robin Sharma, who's written a lot of books on this topic and on leadership and different things. And he says, ideation without execution is delusion. And so this is kind of, for me, emphasizes why this area is so important. I think the third area that I see as extremely relevant in our world, which is what I call our VUCA world. So this is a volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous world that we face. And what is really critical in this environment that we have, this VUCA environment, is change agility. This is about embracing change, seeing opportunities in change, adapting to completely new environments, new contexts, and bringing, not just doing it yourself, but bringing those around you along for that change. So it's encompassing them in that and articulating the vision of that change and ensuring that you adapt to that. So again, with the pandemic that we're facing now, we've seen how industries have been forced to adapt in their ways of work. And again, the world that we're in is consistently changing at a faster pace each and every day. So we really need this kind of change agility to be successful in organizations, and we need organizations also to embrace that change as well.
Mm-hmm. So whereas the pandemic was mostly bad, there are some good things. It gave us practice in this.
Yeah, it definitely did, and we've seen, I would say, like, there's been this mushrooming growth of online learning resources. We've seen how teachers, right, even teachers of those of us who have kids, how they've adapted to the shift to online learning very rapidly. And so there's a lot of opportunity in this, but it's about kind of seeing, where is that opportunity? How can we be up for that? Where is this taking us? And really kind of grabbing it at its reins, So I would say that's kind of what this change agility is all about.
Very nice. Thank you. You mentioned, we talked a lot about communication, importance of communication. networking. That brings me to my next question. Networking is a pressing topic for many talents. And I recall that from my own own past as well. You mentioned where were the challenges, communication, networking. It's frequently felt that better networking skills in-house, they would also help one to advance career more rapidly. How could one improve their networking skills in a company?
Yeah, so I'm the type of person who asks lots of questions, and so my first response to your question would be a question back, which is, so what's the purpose of the networking? What's the goal? What's the aim? What do you want to achieve with that? And really what I'm trying to get at here is networking in and of itself isn't the end game, right? It's the means, and it's the how. So I would say in that context, effective networking, I would see as it's a positioning. And I've received advice in the past from people who are really, really good at this and do this for a living. And that's been, really if we want to, I would call this, so I would change the word networking to build relationships. If we want to build relationships with others, which I think really is more kind of what more of the end game is, then how can we do that? And generally I would say it's about how we can help others. And so this means a lot more listening to others' needs, to their pain points, what keeps them up at night, what's bothering them, who their competitors are. So asking these kinds of questions to understand that. And then it also means throwing out your own agenda, right? Because often when we are networking, we have this specific, I need this 3 things and I want to get this out of you. Actually, in fact, I would say the most effective networking that I've seen is about how can I help you? And what is it that I can do that adds value to what you do so I can help you with your problems? And I think from there, operating, and I think it has to be done authentically. So that would be, for me, fundamental, because inauthenticity is very obvious. And people smell that, so it has to be done from a place of really a genuine desire to help. But when you can show to others that maybe there's something that you can do that adds value to what they need, you build lifelong trust and relationships that will take you very far in your life and in your career. So for me, it's networking is what can I do for you?
Wonderful. Maybe to build on that question, just a tiny addition. How have you seen the relationship building, networking differ, let's say from a junior employee or somebody who's more in the senior ranks?
I would say probably you might have more kind of difficulty initially with kind of getting your desires across, perhaps, or kind of getting in with the right people initially. Maybe at a more junior level, where at a senior level it might be a little bit easier. But I would say overall, so there might be some initial hurdles that you face a little bit more at the junior level, just because kind of where you're positioned in the organization and having access to the right types of people and that sort of thing can occur. But at the same time, I'd say that the crux of the why, the purpose behind it, I think probably doesn't shift.
I wanted to share some exciting news with you. My new online, on-demand program, How to Advance Your Career with Your Current Employer, is officially live and ready for you. So if you're looking to speed up your career progress, check this program out via the link in the description.